Hello everyone, welcome to the third video on blood vascular system of pila globosa, and here we will be dealing with the arterial system and we will be looking into the course of blood circulation. Okay, so here you can see the arterial system specifically, and you can see just 1 minute. Okay, yeah. So this is the heart, the ventricle and the auricle. In the previous presentation, we looked into the various blood vessels which carry blood towards the heart or to the auricle. Okay, here we are going to see the vessels which carry the blood away from the heart to various parts of the body. Okay, the major vessel which arises from the ventricle, it is the aortic trunk. Okay, this actually it is the aortic trunk. Fine. The aortic trunk, as soon as it originates from the ventricle, it divides into two. You can see here these are two other branches. One branch, it takes blood towards the head and the foot region, and hence it is referred as the cephalic aorta. Okay, the one which takes to the head region, that is known as the visceral mass region. The other trunk, it is known as the visceral aorta. Okay, we'll be looking into the branches of the cephalic aorta first. As soon as the cephalic aorta originates, you can see there is another structure associated with that. It is known as the aortic ampulla. Since it is on the cephalic aorta, it is known as a cephalic ampulla. We have seen it in the previous one of the previous videos. That aortic ampulla, it is actually a contractile, what you call dilation, a contractile dilation, a thick wall muscular structure associated with the cephalic aorta. It is considered to be an accessory heart. Okay, a structure which helps in the functioning of the heart. Okay, the rhythmic beating of the aortic ampulla, it can bring about the what you call regulating the normal flow of the blood through the vessels. Okay, and aortic ampulla is a very unique feature of all the members belonging to the family to which the pila belongs to. Okay, the ampullarity. Now, moving forward, we can see the various branches. Okay, as it moves towards this is the main trunk of the what you call the cephalic trunk, and you can see here this is this main trunk. On its way, it gives off many branches. The first branch over here, you can see here, this is the cutaneous artery. Okay, cutaneous artery, as the name suggests, it is to the, it supplies blood to the skin. Now the second one you can see over here, this is a pericardial artery, and pericardial artery, as the name indicates, it supplies blood to the pericardium. But here pericardial artery also supplies blood to the renal chambers. Okay, the what you call the renal chamber as well as the pericardium is supplied by the pericardial artery, a branch from the cephalic aorta. Okay, coming to the third one, it is the esophageal artery. As the name indicates, it is the esophagus to which the blood is supplied through esophageal artery. Then the fourth one we have is the left pallial artery. What is pallium? Pallium is nothing but the mantle itself. Okay, so the left pallial artery, it supplies blood to the left side of the mantle. Okay, the left pallial artery on its way, it gives off branches, the major branches being ostradal artery and the left siphonal artery. Okay, ostradal artery, as the name indicates, it supplies blood to the ostradium. Ostradium, it is a chemosensory structure, isn't it? In the what you call the uh, pulmonary chamber, or we can say on the left chamber of the mantle cavity, right? And the left siphonal artery, it is actually the blood vessel which supplies the left nuchal lobe. Okay, nuchal lobe is otherwise known as a siphon, isn't it? So the left nuchal lobe is supplied with left siphonal artery, which is a branch of the left pallial artery. Okay, so that was the fourth one. And the fifth artery arising from the cephalic aorta, it is the radular sac artery. And radular sac artery, as the name suggests, it supplies radular sac. And I hope you remember the radula, it is placed in the radular sac, and it is also associated with the secretion or the formation of the radula. Then we have the sixth one, this one. It is known as the, here you can see the cephalopedal artery. Okay, the cephalopedal artery. This is the cephalopedal artery. Okay, and the cephalopedal artery, it gives off branches. The pedal artery to the foot, tentacular arteries to the tentacles. You can see here this is the tentacle, the anterior posterior tentacles, and this branch is the optic artery. Okay, to the omatophore and the eyes. So these three branches arises from the cephalopedal artery. Okay, Then the next one we have is the this one. It is a right siphonal artery. Okay, you already know what could be the right siphonal artery supplying blood to, isn't it? It is the right nuchal lobe. And then we have is the pineal artery. The pineal artery, it is found only in the what you call males, and it supplies blood to the penis. It is a copulatory structure. Okay, and the last one, the last major artery is the right pallial artery. Here, it supplies the right side of the mantle. Okay, so these are the main branches of the cephalic aorta. Okay, so here you can see these are the major, this one, cephalic aorta, the pericardial artery, the cutaneous artery, the esophageal artery, the left pallial artery, radula sac artery, cephalopedal artery, then of the pineal artery, right siphonal artery, and the right pallial artery. Okay, now we can go to the branches of the next one, that is the visceral aorta. Visceral aorta is the second branch of the main this part. Okay, what is this? This is the aortic trunk. Okay, so we can see here this is the visceral aorta. Okay, extending towards the what you call the visceral mass. Okay, now what are the branches? One here you can see it also gives off pericardial artery to the pericardium. Next we have is the hepatopancreatic artery, which supplies the hepatopancreas, the digestive gland. Then we have is the renal artery, the reno-intestinal arteries are there. Okay, then the gastric artery. The gastric artery is responsible for supplying blood to the stomach, digestive gland, gonads, etc. Then the posterior, sorry, what do you call intestinal arteries. Okay, the intestinal arteries which supplies the intestine. So we have all these vessels arising, branches arising from the visceral aorta. I hope it is clear. Okay, now we have already seen the various components of the venous system and the what you call the um, arterial system. Okay, now we can see how the blood is flowing. Okay, the circulation, the blood circulation. Fine. Now, yeah. Okay, so we can see here, right? We can see the blood. This is we can start from here. Okay, so the blood flows in this direction. You can see here, right, towards the auricle from the tenerium. Okay, in this direction. Okay, so it is carried via the afferent tenerial vein. I hope it is clear. The afferent tenerial vein carries blood from the tenerium towards the auricle, right? Then we have this is the this part. Okay, this vessel. It is the efferent pulmonary vein, right? Efferent pulmonary vein. It carries blood from the what you call the lungs or the pulmonary sac towards the auricle. Okay, so the left efferent pulmonary vein. Then we have the third one over here. It carries blood towards the heart, auricle, and this one is the efferent, the renal vein. Okay, this is the efferent renal vein. It carries blood towards the auricle. So this is one. Then we can see here uh, the blood flows away from the heart, okay, to various parts of the body, right? The visceral aorta, and here you can see the oxygenated blood carried towards various parts of the body through the visceral aorta and the cephalic aorta. Okay, so this is the direction of the blood flow, basic uh, what you call the circulation. Now we have to see in detail how it reaches various parts of the body. Okay, so here you can see the heart, uh, the auricle and the ventricle makes up the heart, right? The auricle, it receives blood from three main vessels, right? The pulmonary vein from the pulmonary sac, the efferent tenerial vein from the tenerium, efferent renal vein. You can see here the efferent renal vein. This is the efferent renal vein. From which part it is? It is from the posterior renal chamber. Okay, from the posterior renal chamber. So these three are the vessels which carry the blood to the auricle. From the ventricle, the blood passes through the cephalic and the visceral aorta to different parts of the body, right? The blood is carried to different parts of the body from the ventricle through the branches of the cephalic and visceral aorta. The cephalic aorta, it supplies blood to the anterior parts of the body, while visceral aorta, it supplies blood to the, we can say, posterior parts of the body, right? Now, here you can see from various parts of the body, the blood is collected by various veins and venules. right? And then it is collected in the perivisceral sinus and periintestinal sinus. Okay, now the perivisceral sinus, it collects the deoxygenated blood from the anterior parts of the body. You can see here. Okay, from the anterior parts of the body, the blood is collected, and you can see it gets collected in the perivisceral sinus. To which is the vessel which carries blood to the anterior parts of the body? It is the cephalic aorta. Okay, the branches of the cephalic aorta. So the branches of the cephalic aorta, it gives off blood to the anterior parts of the body, and there the oxygen is used up. The deoxygenated blood from those parts of the body, it is collected by venules, and then it is passed to the perivisceral sinus. Okay, now the visceral aorta, it supplies blood to the major organs, the visceral organs. Okay, and there, from there, the deoxygenated blood is collected by veins and venules, and it is poured into the periintestinal sinus. Okay, I hope it is clear now. So the blood from the visceral mass is collected in the periintestinal sinus, while the blood, deoxygenated blood from the anterior part of the body, is collected in the perivisceral sinus. Okay, now from the periintestinal sinus, you can see the blood flows to the renal chambers. Okay, you can see here it flows into the renal chamber through afferent renal vein. You can see here afferent renal vein, as well as through the afferent renal sinus. Okay, so the blood flows from periintestinal sinus into the afferent renal sinus, and it gets blood is collected over here, and from there it is poured into the renal chamber. Okay, similarly, it also the blood is also transported from periintestinal sinus to the renal chamber through the afferent renal vein. Okay, another important feature is that from the afferent renal sinus, a part of the blood is also transported, or also flows into the branchiorenal sinus. That is, from the afferent renal sinus, a part of the blood flows into the renal chamber. At the same time, another part, it flows into the branchiorenal sinus. Okay, so this is about the blood which is getting collected in the periintestinal sinus. So periintestinal sinus, it collects blood from the visceral mass, right? And from there, the blood flows from the periintestinal sinus through the afferent renal vein to the renal chambers. Similarly, periintestinal sinus, from there the blood flows into another sinus, the afferent renal sinus. And from the afferent renal sinus, blood flows into through two different routes. One is to the renal chamber, another is to the branchiorenal sinus. Okay, the renal chamber and the branchiorenal sinus. Okay, now what happens to the blood that is getting collected in the perivisceral sinus? In the case of blood which is deoxygenated blood which gets collected in the perivisceral sinus, the blood passes through two routes. Okay, one, it passes into the pulmonary sinus. Okay, in between there is a pulmonary sinus. So from perivisceral sinus, the blood, a part of the blood flows into the pulmonary sinus. Another part, it flows into the branchiorenal sinus. Okay, now from the pulmonary sinus, blood flows into pulmonary sac. It gets oxygenated, and then the oxygenated blood is carried to the auricle through pulmonary vein. Okay, what happens to the blood which gets collected in the branchiorenal sinus? It flows into the tenedium through afferent tenedial vein. Okay, and oxygenation takes place. The oxygenated blood is taken through the efferent tenedial vein to the auricle. I hope it is clear. Okay, now you can see that from the perivisceral sinus, a small amount of blood, it flows into the renal chambers. Okay, there what happens? There it is actually getting cleared. Okay, the waste materials are getting cleared. A very small amount. Okay, so this is how the blood flows. I hope it is clear. Okay, so from ventricle to the cephalic aorta to various parts of the anterior parts of the body. From there to through the venules, it gets collected into the perivisceral sinus. From the perivisceral sinus to the pulmonary sinus, pulmonary sac, oxygenated blood to the auricle. Perivisceral sinus to branchiorenal sinus to the tenedium through the afferent tenedial vein, oxygenated blood back to the auricle. Okay, visceral aorta to the visceral mass, from there to the periintestinal sinus, from periintestinal sinus either to renal chamber or to the branchiorenal sinus. Okay, and then back to the tenedium. During the aquatic respiration, what happens is from the perivisceral sinus, major part enters the branchiorenal sinus, okay, and the tenerium. Fine. Thank you.